Right now, you're doing something no other animal on Earth can do, and you haven't even noticed. Picture this. Something lands here tomorrow, something that has never seen a human before in its life. Out of everyone on the planet, it picks you, sitting exactly where you are right now, and it starts studying you, trying to work out what kind of creature you are. What is the very first thing it notices? Not your size, not your face. The first thing it would flag is a feature that looks at a glance like a fatal weakness. A flaw so obvious it should have gotten your entire species wiped out, and yet it turned out to be the single reason you ended up running this planet. Most people live their whole lives and never once see it. By the end of this, you won't be able to unsee it. So let's look at you the way that stranger would, from the outside, with no idea what you are. Start with your eyes, because that is exactly where it would start too. Try something. Picture almost any other animal and try to tell precisely where it's looking. A wolf, a shark, a gorilla, you can't? Their eyes are dark all the way across, the colored part flooding the whole socket, hiding the direction of their gaze completely. And that is not a coincidence. For most animals, letting the world see where you're looking is dangerous. It warns your prey the instant you spot them. It tells a rival exactly what you're about to do. So evolution buries it. Now look at your own eyes. A wide white background with a colored circle floating on top of it. That white part is called the sclera, and yours is far more exposed than any other ape's. So anyone who so much as glances at your face can read instantly where your attention is pointed. You leak that information every waking second, and you cannot turn it off. Stop and think about how reckless that is. Out in a dangerous world, your eyes are a signpost announcing your every thought. That should be suicide. So why would evolution build it on purpose? In 1997, two researchers, Hiromi Kobayashi and Shiro Koshima, compared the eyes of nearly half of all primate species. Human eyes stood out from every other one they looked at. Later, the psychologist Michael Tomasello turned that finding into what's now called the cooperative eye hypothesis. And the idea is unsettling. You evolved eyes that give your gaze away on purpose, not to hunt, to be read by the others standing right next to you, which only makes sense if those others were never your enemies. They were your team. Right now, when you follow a friend's glance across a crowded room without a single word, you're running a program millions of years old. You think you're just looking? You're broadcasting. And that is only the first clue, because the stranger keeps watching and it spots something else. You're nearly naked. Almost every mammal your size is wrapped in thick fur. You're not. Your skin is bare, and it's studded with millions of tiny glands that leak water the moment you start to heat up. From the outside, this looks like a serious defect. You can't last a single cold night without stealing warmth from somewhere. So what could possibly be worth giving up your coat? Here's the turn. You were never built to survive the cold. You were built to chase. In 2004, two scientists, Dennis Bramble and Daniel Lieberman of Harvard, published a paper in the journal Nature with a quietly staggering claim. Your entire body is engineered for running long distances. Not fast. Almost any animal can outsprint you in seconds. But almost none of them can keep moving for hours under a blazing sun without overheating and being forced to stop. You can. That bare skin and that sweat are a cooling system, and they handed your ancestors a power no other predator had. Picture it. They pick an animal far faster than them, and they simply follow it. They walk it down across the entire afternoon, never letting it rest in the shade, until it finally collapses from the heat, with a human strolling up calmly behind it. You are not the fastest thing out there. You are the thing that does not stop coming. And that refusal to quit is still in you every time you grind for hours at something a smarter creature would have walked away from. But here's the strange part. The stranger still hasn't found the weirdest thing about you. For that, it has to look inside your skull. And what it finds there breaks every rule of survival it knows. There is an organ in your head that is barely 2% of your body weight, just 2%, and it devours roughly 20% of all the energy you burn, even while you sit perfectly still, doing absolutely nothing. 1/50th of your body, eating a fifth of your fuel, every second for your entire life. No animal alive pays a tax like that for a single organ. It should be impossible to afford. So how do you pay for it? In 1995, the anthropologists Leslie Aiello and Peter Wheeler found the first half of the answer. Compared to other primates your size, your guts are strangely, suspiciously small. They called it the expensive tissue hypothesis. Your ancestors shrank one costly organ, the gut, to fund another, the brain. You quietly robbed one part of your body to pay for the explosion happening in your head. But that still leaves a hole. A gut that small cannot squeeze enough energy out of raw leaves and raw meat to run a brain this hungry. So where did the rest of the fuel come from? The Harvard biologist Richard Wrangham argues it came from something you do every single day without a second thought. Fire, you cook. Cooking tears your food apart before it ever reaches your stomach, so your body pulls far more energy out of it for far less work. You digest part of your meal outside your body before a single bite ever goes in. Nothing else on earth does this. The stranger would watch you deliberately set your dinner on fire and decide you had completely lost your mind. And then it would see the one thing that makes no sense at all. It would see your children, and it would freeze, because your babies are born broken. A newborn horse stands within an hour. A baby ape grabs its mother and clings on for dear life from the very first moment. A human infant can do none of it. It can't walk. It can't cling. It can't even hold up its own head. Its brain is only about 25% of its adult size at birth, while a chimp's is already near half. You arrive years too early, more helpless than almost anything alive, and you stay that way for a decade. And this is the part that should have ended your species. A helpless infant is a death sentence. Unless, unless someone is always there to carry it, feed it, and guard it while the exhausted mother sleeps. The anthropologist Sarah Blaffer Hrdy calls this cooperative breeding. The plain, radical fact that a human child has never once, in the entire history of your kind, been raised by a single person alone. It always took a group. And right here, every strange thing about you suddenly snaps into one shape. Your eyes built to broadcast where you look. Your face, unable to hide what you feel. Your young, who only survive if a circle of others keeps them alive. Your brain, so wildly expensive that you had no choice but to share food, share fire, and share the raising of your children just to keep it burning. The stranger came hunting for the weirdest thing about a human, and it found one, but it was never sitting inside your body at all. So go back to the very beginning, to that fatal weakness it noticed first, the eyes that give you away. It was never a flaw. It was a flag, raised to the only creatures who would ever read it. You were never built to be one. Every line of you was drawn for someone else, to be seen, to be understood, to be carried when you couldn't carry yourself, and to carry them in return. That is the secret the stranger would crack before anything else. Not that you are strong or fast or clever, but that you are the animal that only makes sense in a crowd. You haven't even noticed, but you're doing it right now.